In 1967, two legends roared to life: the Ford Mustang GT 390 and the Chevrolet Camaro RS SS 350. This was no ordinary model year. It was the beginning of a rivalry that would define American muscle for generations. Let's take a look back at the very first battle of the pony cars. The Ford Mustang and Chevy Camaro have probably sold more magazines than any other pair of cars. Pit the two against each other, and you have a contest with the same emotional appeal as Mac versus PC, Coke versus Pepsi, Army versus Navy. Such contests have been widened to include Cudas, Firebirds, Javelins, and others, but most customers pay to watch the Ford and Chevy duke it out. The cars pictured here could have competed in round one of this epic battle: a third-year redesigned Mustang GT 390 and a freshly minted Camaro RS SS 350. Each was built early in the 1967 model year with the highest-performing mainstream engine and suspension packages available. In the early 1960s, the first baby boomers were coming of age, and market research suggested they wouldn't be buying the cars their parents drove. They'd be looking to express themselves, but on a budget. Everyone got the message, and GM was the first to respond. To keep costs down, the Big Three leveraged the compacts they'd reluctantly introduced in 1960 to stem the flood of small imported cars. Plymouth had the Valiant, and Ford had the Falcon, both of which were miniaturized big cars. Chevrolet went with the more daring and sophisticated rear engine, air-cooled, independently suspended Corvair. This radical car never caught on with the masses. The Falcon outsold it by 74%, prompting development of the more conventional Chevy II Nova for 1962. But by bolting in bucket seats and sporty trim, the mid-1960 Corvair Monza became just what the boomers wanted, and it soon evolved into the young person's cool car. By 1963, Monzas accounted for 80% of Corvair sales. The 1964 Falcon-based Mustang and Valiant-based Barracuda were designed in response to the Monza's success. Meanwhile, Chevrolet design chief Irv Rybicki wondered aloud to GM design boss Bill Mitchell whether Chevy might win additional sales. By offering a cut-rate personal coupe, a Riviera shrunk to fit a Chevy budget. Mitchell liked the idea and set up a secret studio in a warehouse, where Project XP836 was born. Riding atop the Chevy 2 platform, the clay model's dimensions and long hood short deck proportions were eerily similar to the Mustang's. Chevy. Boss Bunky Knudsen liked the clay model, but demurred, noting that with the Corvette and Corvair Monza covering the sporty spectrum, the Chevy 2 and Chevelle spanning the mid-market, and a broad, full-size lineup, the last thing Chevy needed, or could afford, was another new car. Can you blame him? But the Mustang arrived and instantly became more popular than sex and chocolate, not to mention the Corvair Monza, sales of which plunged by a third in 1964. At first, GM brass was unimpressed with what they saw as an angular, unimaginative design. They felt certain their svelte, Euro-styled 1965 Corvair replacement could hold its own. But dealers signed 26,000 Mustang orders on the first day, and after 4 months and 100,000 sales, Chevy swallowed its pride and green-lighted development of a conventional front-engine, rear-drive competitor, codenamed F-Body. The mandate: make it longer, lower, wider, faster, and better in every way. The warehouse project resumed where it had left off. A replacement for the Chevy II Nova was slated for 1968, and the F-car would share its architecture, which consisted of a unit body aft of the firewall, bolted via tuned rubber mounts to a front stub frame. This combo boasted the packaging efficiency of a unit body with the ride and powertrain isolation of a body on frame. For the first time at Chevy, computers helped speed the tuning of the aerodynamics and the suspension's ride-handling calibration. Dimensionally, the F-car measured several inches longer and wider than the original Mustang, and each of its Initial engine offerings trumped the power of its closest Mustang rival. Initially, there were 2 inline-6s and 3 small-block V8s in 5 states of tune, depending on carbs and exhaust, followed by a pair of 396-cube big-block options introduced in November 1966. Chevy reckoned the key to winning over boomers was letting them custom-tailor their pony car, so the order sheet included a staggering array of 80 factory options and 40 dealer accessories. As the fall 1966 launch date loomed, all that was left was to choose a name for Chevy's Mustang killer. Panther, Nova, and Chaparral were considered and rejected. After mining the foreign language dictionaries, Camaro won the day. Chevy defined its meaning as French slang for companion, though Ford favored the Spanish translation, a type of sea shrimp. Detroit's a small town, so Ford had ample time to prepare for the Camaro. Having cranked out 1 million Mustangs, the tooling was shot anyway. In order to keep ahead on the power front, a 390 big block option was added to the order book. Accommodating it required stretching the front end 2 inches and widening the car by 2.7 inches, widening the track 2.5 inches and raising the front. Suspension's roll center improved handling, and interior space increased marginally. Stylists preserved but embellished all the original design elements, stretching the hood, widening the grille, deepening the side scallops, and extending the fastback's roofline to the rear of the car. So how did the upstart Camaro fare against the million-strong Mustang? Motortrend ran the first driving impressions of both cars in December 1966, but they were driven by different authors at separate venues and hence not compared. The Mustang GT 390, with its enlarged front anti-roll bar and stiffened springs, 30% front, 26% rear, drew praise for its quieter ride and improved handling, though it remained a heavy understeerer, and the big block produced major axle tramp on full-power launches. The Camaro RS SS350's standard traction bar reduced wheel hop. Later Camaros cured the problem using staggered shocks, but excessive tire spin demanded a light touch at launch. The front disc brakes required similarly light footwork to keep from locking. Stops from 60 meters took 156 feet versus the GT 390's 134. In May 1967, we finally got all the ponies together, testing several variants of each. This time, the Mustangs understeered the most, the Camaros the least, and the V8 Chevys were prone to throttle oversteer. The Camaro felt the most agile in tight, twisty maneuvers, but its 2-speed automatic drew loud criticism. We dinged the Mustang for unlighted ventilation controls that only the driver could reach, while the Camaro took heat for its lack of instrumentation and the low mounting location of the auxiliary gauges. No outright winner was declared, though reading between the lines, the Camaro seemed the favorite. Car and Driver compared the Trans Am Racing homologation versions of each and gave the nod to the Camaro Z28, which outperformed the tunnel port. Mustang in acceleration, 13.8 versus 14.0 in the quarter, and braking, 1.02 G versus 0.86 G. Road and Track chose a 289-powered Mustang over its 327-cube Camaro competitor, judging the soft-riding Camaro to be, frankly, a disappointment. Our photo cars were originally purchased by well-heeled boomers demanding the best-dressed pony on the block. Each spent half again the base price on optional upgrades, and as a result, both look and feel special, inside and out. The Camaros. A $105 RS exterior decor package adds classy hidden headlamps and chrome flourishes that sparkle against the royal plum paint and white vinyl top. Interior extravagances include air conditioning, power windows, a console with gauge package, deluxe, striped upholstery, and an odd fold-down rear seatback that doesn't pass through to the trunk. Our Clearwater Aqua Mustang is similarly equipped, with interior and exterior spiffs like turn signal indicators on the hood, extra chrome and styled steel wheels outside, two-tone aqua vinyl upholstery, a console with roll-top stowage compartment, and a fold-down seat accessing the trunk. From the wheel, The two cars feel more different than what their spec sheets suggest. The fastback Mustang looks racier, and the view down its extra-long hood reinforces the impression. The big block 390 seems always to be straining at the leash with its 3-speed C6 automatic, ready to make the most of the available torque. Though the 3.1 axle is better geared for economical cruising than jackrabbit starts. Overboosted power steering, typical of the day, transmits little road feel, but the heavy springs and shocks appear to control body motions quite well. The GT traverses bumps and dips without losing its composure. This restored 57,000-mile Camaro is tight and carefully assembled despite the beating it takes from period-correct Firestone wide-O oval bias ply tires that provide little cushioning over the rough stuff. The venerable 350 small block exhales a sonorous burble through the SS350's dual deep-tone mufflers. It accelerates briskly at lower speeds, but the 2-cog Powerglide slush box is a liability. Shifts are smooth while accelerating, but it clunks into low gear when slowing to a stop. The 396 big block and turbo-hydromatic 3-speed was a better match for the 390 Mustang. The steering and brakes feel even more overboosted than the Mustangs, but that's all part of the charm of a 1960s pony. While rare option Z28 and Shelby GT3 500 variants of the classic pony cars are gaveling stratospheric prices at auction, more mainstream models like these are still affordable. For $30,000 to $35,000, you can get a solid driver that's easy to maintain and repair and loads of fun at cruise nights. From bold styling to fierce competition, the 1967 Mustang and Camaro ignited a legacy still felt today. Whether you're Team Chevy or Ford faithful, this classic rivalry proves one thing: pony power never goes out of style.